Tonight on World Football News, a cash flow crisis cripples the Jets. Can Newcastle be saved?
I'd be devastated. I guess A-League will be lost to me and my family.
We'll bring you the very latest as the A-League's former champs face extinction. We're assessing the Socceroos. No score for a draw.
He's missed it.
Poland awaits and Holger's plans are coming up. We'll cross live to Lucas and check in with Muscat in Melbourne. Plus, Sam's swipe at the England manager. And Wayne's World, an off-field controversy rocks Rooney. Also this evening, super keen to train with royalty. Our Aussie teenagers with the chance of a lifetime. This is World Football News with your hosts, Chris Bailey and David Drillich, and special guest, Zelko Kalach.
Good evening, I'm Chris Bailey. Welcome to World Football News. Here's today's top stories. The future of the Newcastle Jets is secure for the time being following day-long talks between the owners and the FFA, who've agreed to short-term financial assistance. Socceroos coach Holger Osek is likely to hand opportunities to some of his fringe players against Poland on Wednesday as he continues to plan for January's Asian Cup. And Wayne Rooney's reportedly devastated over allegations he slept with a prostitute while his wife was pregnant. Those stories plus plenty more ahead, but first tonight, the Newcastle Jets' future is secure for now after Football Federation Australia announced it would support the club financially in the short term. It comes after day-long negotiations between the two parties.
The fans have made their views very clear. They're not giving up on the Newcastle Jets.
My dad, granddad, they've played football in Newcastle for years, and, it'd just be sad to see the sport leave.
I still think we'll still be around in years to come.
It's the same attitude of owner Con Constantine. Football Federation Australia won't either, today committing to a short-term loan to keep the club afloat.
He won't die. I'm convinced of that. Obviously, they've got some short-term problems that need fixing, but, Newcastle has always been a stronghold for our code, and I expect it to continue to be so.
Coach Branko Kalina admitting the cloud over the Jets' future has taken its toll on the players.
We agreed as a group that we would play this game and give Con and FFA every opportunity to sort the situation out.
We get paid every Friday, so next Friday if we don't see any pays, then I'm sure there's going to be a lot of unhappy players.
The FFA was ultimately left with just three options: either advance the money to the club and let it continue, stage a complete takeover and remove Con Constantine as chairman, or let the club fold and disappoint thousands of fans. Those fans left Energy Australia's stadium yesterday wondering if they'd just seen the Jets play for the last time.
I can't see myself supporting another team. I guess A-League will be lost to me and my family.
Nick Lockyer, World Football News.
Football Federation Australia confirmed today the bailout would only apply until the 18th of September. World Football News reporter Patrick Dybell caught up with the A-League boss Lyall Gorman a short while ago.
Lyall, thank you for your time. We understand you've come to an arrangement with the Jets today. Can you take us through that, what it is, please?
Yes, the club's agreed today to offer the Jets some short-term financial assistance while it works through the club with a range of longer-term solutions. As you'd probably appreciate, there's a lot of various stakeholders involved in this and a lot of complex issues, and that takes time to work through and fully identify what those range of matters are. And it gives us the time to do that while recognising the tremendous attitude of the players today in working through this process with the club in what's been very difficult times.
No one wants to see the Newcastle Jets out of the A-League, and it's got a very strong history of teams competing at the national level. How important is it to the A-League and to the FFA that the Jets remain in the competition?
The Jets have a tremendously proud history, and as do the players in terms of spirit and charm, which they evidenced on the weekend. The Jets have been part of the football landscape in Australia for a very long time, and they're an integral part of the Hyundai A-League and the future of football in Australia. So there's a tremendous commitment to work with those stakeholders to understand better what the solutions might be that will ensure that the community has a football club of which is so rightly proud.
And how happy is the FFA and the A-League in what is essentially a short-term bailout of yet another A-League club?
It's always been our commitment to make sure the clubs were long-term, sustainable, viable businesses in their own right. The community ownership was a very important part of that model, and we're very committed now to making sure that we reach into the community, give the community a chance to step up and show the support and the belief they have in the Jets and the need and the desire to have their own football club, and to help us work through those issues. So we're very content with the process at hand in terms of this is a tremendous opportunity to fully engage the community of Newcastle in looking after and preserving their own football club.
Well, I'm sure every Newcastle Jets fan thanks you very much for the effort you've put in today, and thank you for your time on World Football News.
It's a pleasure indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick Dybel speaking with Lyall Gorman there. Now joining us on the phone is the Jets CEO John Tsatsimas. John, thanks for joining us on World Football News. You must be very happy with the outcome today.
First of all, good evening, gentlemen, and thanks for having me. Yes, certainly. They give us a bit of respite in terms of the interesting and challenging period of time that we've had over the past couple of weeks. So, but having said that, hopefully we'll be able to use this as a leverage and hopefully find some form of resolution in terms of where we're at.
John, it is only a temporary bailout to get the club through the next 2 weeks. What happens after that?
Oh, look, this gives us a bit of time to assess where we're going and how we're going to go about it, and an opportunity for the chairman and the FFA and the club, the collective group, to sit down and work through the matter at hand, and hopefully the long-term sustainability and viability of the Jets won't be in question.
John, it's David Zdrilic here. What about the players? Have you spoken to them, and how have they reacted to all this?
Yeah, look, one thing I will say, the players have been excellent in terms of the manner that they've approached this. I think collectively as a group, as a club, we've been very united, and I think the playing group that we've had is certainly testament to the performances that they've put on the field so far in terms of heart and spirit. And certainly proud of them and proud of my staff and the coaching and the backroom staff. I can't fault anyone, and certainly it reflects positively on Newcastle as a community and Newcastle as a club.
John, Chairman Constantine has always claimed this wouldn't be a bailout, just a short-term loan. Do you still see this as the case?
Yeah, look, I see nothing to suggest otherwise at this point in time. I mean, Connor's been very committed. He's referred to, quoted us during the week as bleeding footballs if he's cut. So I don't think he's resigning from his obligations and his commitment. He loves Newcastle, and he loves the football club, and he loves football in general. So if it wasn't the case that he'd be able to maintain the rage, so to speak, I don't think he'd be so persistent in terms of his commitment to the club.
John, do you feel like in some ways you're holding the A-League to ransom by saying that if you don't help us and you don't bail us out, then football in Newcastle will be no more?
Well, I don't think there was a suggestion of that at any time in terms of those comments made, so I don't know where that's come from. But having said that, we don't approach the FFA with trivial or idle matters that aren't serious. So the matter was serious to a point and needed some form of addressing.
John, Lyall Gorman spoke to us a short while ago. He was urging the fans to get behind the club. How are you going to get the fans back on board now? It's a necessity, is it not?
Yeah, look, I think the wishes that we've got this week and the support that we've had has been fantastic. Newcastle is a vital cog in the wheel of the A-League, and Newcastle football fraternity is very educated, and they are very traditional and historically very strong in terms of the footballing community in Australia. So they deserve a team, they deserve a successful team, and a team that will be there for a long period of time. There's been a history of Newcastle teams that have fallen away by the wayside in the past in the old NSL, and we don't look to be one of those items of statistics. So we look forward to consolidation and a long-term future.
Yes, we hope we have a long-term future as well, John. Thanks for joining us here on World Football News.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night.
Guys, how essential is it that the Jets remain in the A-League? Bearing in mind there's 2 clubs already from New South Wales and another one to be added shortly.
Yeah, personally, Newcastle, yeah, there is 2 clubs from New South Wales, but Newcastle's Newcastle.
Yeah.
They're parochial. It's they have to be in the league. They've got such a big area of young players, a lot of teams out there. You see the support. I mean, you can't take away a team that has a district of, 2 million people in that whole area. It's just vital they stay in.
And I think the bigger question is these clubs, a lot of these clubs since the start of the A-League have really been struggling. Where do they get their money from? They get it from the crowds. We know that the crowds have been up and down since the first day of the A-League, and now obviously they're finding a little bit of trouble. I think the bigger picture is maybe the TV money that comes in. You go all around the world in the English Premier League, German Bundesliga, there's big money from TV rights. That's the only way these clubs are going to survive, and they need a lot of help. At the moment, that's not happening.
Yeah, I agree, Zdrill. The clubs are bleeding. The clubs are bleeding. They're trying to do everything on a shoestring budget, which is hard as well to get results like that. This is a short-term thing. What is it? 18th of September?
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks.
Yep.
So they need to come up with money, and they need to come up with it quick. And I take my hat off to all the boys, the players and the staff at Newcastle, because it's not easy to go out and play after not being paid. Okay, it's only 2 weeks. Let's hope they can resolve it in the next week and get it sorted, because we need Newcastle in. They've got a very good team. They're doing well in the competition. Let's hope they can solve their problems.